Hey again all, EDPS 340 video lecture number 5. This will be a quick review of what I've given you in the first few lectures, especially standardized test scoring formats. I've been told by at least one of your peers that the visual format of my lectures has been getting a little boring, so I thought I'd make a major move and go to the other side of the so-called whiteboard. How about that? Pretty radical. Here we go. It would help if you would again have the sample Iowa test report score sheet here for an imaginary student. I have once again attached that to the email by which you're receiving this video. Let's review here for this imaginary person. We're looking at the top report only. The bottom gives a lot more information that we're just not going to cover in this course. But you would not get these sheets when your teacher is cold and be expected to share with students and parents. You would have a staff meeting, no doubt, with a counselor or a department head or a principal or somebody helping you make sense of all this. So what I'm doing is just kind of covering the basics, which are at the top. You see that Dwayne here again has an SS. That stands for scaled score. Recall, this is not new. This is a review. Scaled score. Think of scaled score as, quote, points racked up. If you don't know the scale, the number of points that a student racks up on a test isn't very meaningful. So in general, we don't worry too much about whatever the scaled score is. The first score that makes some sense for us is NPR, which stands for National Percentile Rank. And again, that means if all the students were lined up with their scores after taking the test in a straight line, and you chunk them off into 100 groups, in other words, 1% of the students in each little group, your score is the number that you're in, left to right. Did that make a lot of sense? 0 to 99 are the possible national percentile rank scores. And again, the reason there's no 100 is because if you happen to be at the 99th percentile rank, the very definition of percentile rank means you did better than 99% of your peers. So you are at the top. Just as 0 means nobody did worse than you. You are at the bottom, unfortunately. Excuse me. On that particular sheet for Dwayne, you'll notice they also give something called LPR. That's simply local percentile rank, which compares Dwayne to only his local peers. But the idea is exactly the same. GE is next. That stands for grade equivalent. In the back of your course pack is a definition of grade equivalent. But think of it this way. If Dwayne is in the 3rd grade, 7th month of school, he's a 3.7, not his score on the test, but we can call him a 3.7. And he scores 8.1 on some standardized test. Grade equivalent is 8.1. He scored so well that he scored like you would expect an 8th grader in the first month of school to score on the 3rd grade test. And how would you expect an 8th grader to score on a 3rd grade test? Very well. And Dwayne scored very well. So he gets the label of 8.1. Remember, you don't want to say he's working like an 8th grader. Let's ship him up to the middle school first period. because if you did that, he very well would flunk out because he just hasn't learned enough to be in 8th grade. But he's obviously a great math student. Next on the sample Iowa sheet is NS. We won't worry about the N so much as the S, which stands for stanine. And you know what? I really do have to move back to the other side. This is getting awkward. Forgive me. We'll get by. Stanine requires that's better, a quick look at the bell curve again. And if we take the bell curve and slice it into 9 slices, I am not positive I made 9 slices just then, but you get the idea, 1 through 9. And that's supposedly a 5. Wherever your score is, wherever Dwayne's score is under the curve, that's the stanine number he gets. There's only 9 possible scores. And obviously, more students score at 5 than at any other score. Hardly anybody gets 1, hardly anybody gets 9. Very poor, and then outstanding. We also looked at normal curve equivalent, NCE, which is like stanine, except instead of 9 slices, you have, and so on, 100 slices. Hope all that makes sense to you. By the way, just a side note, don't worry about this too much, but some of you may care. If you're wondering where the slices are sliced for both stanine and normal curve equivalent, all I want to say right now is they're tied to standard deviation, and we'll leave it at that. Okay? I hope this was a helpful review, and stay safe.